Now I would like to take things down to an intellectual level with an interview here at the Tech Cove. Alright, enough silliness.
Okay.
I mean, imagine my reputation. You know that?
I already have.
We're here with Tom Dekker, who has, interestingly enough, created how-to for not dummies on an iPhone.
Well, it's how to feel your way around the screens, because what it is a set of diagrams. You can get them in Braille, you can get them in large print, or you can get a version that's both Braille and large print on the same page.
Now, when you say in Braille, the Braille is outlined as far as the diagrams?
What they are is screenshots that depict the most common iOS screens, things you'll see like the lock screen, the home screen, how the settings screen is, how the control centers are, and they even have a separate diagram because obviously the layout of the control center on an iPhone is very different from the layout of the control center on an iPad.
And I hate those differences. I also hate split screens, but this isn't about me. This is about you.
I know, and I hated them too, which is part of why I invented this. Every blind person who ever got an iPhone or an iPad, for the first week or two, learning to relate to touch screens as a visually impaired person resulted in coming very close to flinging the thing off a balcony, crushing it under your heel, etc., etc.
I've never done that on purpose, but go on, this intrigues me. It happened once, but it wasn't on purpose.
Yeah, well, having been a rehabilitation teacher, the iPhone came out, and all of a sudden there was a huge demand at the agency where I was working in Toronto. I was doing almost 90% iPhone teaching and about 10% actual rehab teaching. And somebody teased me one day and said, "You're not a rehabilitation teacher anymore, you're an eye-habilitation." It might have even been me who said it, I don't know. Anyway, it came up in conversation, and out of that came this idea, well, people are having trouble relating to the screens, and most people flick. A lot of people do because they're not quite sure how to do anything else because they don't understand the layout of the screen. So once you teach them to flick, that's all they want to do for the first while because they don't understand what's going on. And they think if they touch the wrong place on the screen that it'll do something. You know what? It turned out that there was a company in Toronto back then called Tactile Vision Incorporated, and they had this neat process for making all sorts of diagrams and things that they did. There originally was, I don't know if you ever saw it, but for Windows 95 and Windows 7 and Vista, there was a woman from England named Sarah Morley who wrote these books, and with those books came a great thick thermoform volume with screenshots of all kinds of Windows screens,
Wow,
Microsoft
really?
Word open with 3
neat.
documents. Huh?
That sounds neat.
It was.
Do you do some of the screenshots as far as the push and pop menus?
We haven't done that yet because I'm sorry, we're too poor to own any devices that do that, so we don't have any direct experience with it yet.
Lesson-wise, how far does it go? By the end of this book, or it sounds like an experience to me, if it's in Braille and print, you can feel the diagrams and stuff. Are there videos too?
Let me tell the whole history of the book real quickly so you'll understand. Initially, this started out, I said to these folks in Toronto, I have some ideas, like if people knew what the home screen looked like and that there was a status bar across the top and a dock across the bottom, and if they understood that there was a split screen for settings or just different things that are hard for maybe a non-visual person to get at first, I said to these guys, make me some diagrams, and we did half a dozen diagrams for major things that you need to know about your phone. Mm-hmm. And I started using them in the lessons and going, okay, you can flick on your phone all you want, but now I want you to flick about, and as you flick about with one hand, I want you to feel around this diagram, and I want you to tell me where on the screen the thing is that you just flick to. I want you to find it on the diagram. And what I noticed is that people looking at these diagrams as they played with their phone started to develop visual memory of where things were on the screen, and they started understanding that they could zip from point A to point B on the phone just like they could zip from point A to point B on the diagram.
So to
I
speak.
call ear-hand coordination. Everybody's always talking about having good eye-hand coordination with voiceover feedback. Why shouldn't we have good ear-hand coordination?
That's true. And technically spatial memory.
Exactly.
Who done it, by Jove?
Oh my! Well, you know why we use we need to use an embosser that has that can handle cut sheets. Because I'll tell you, originally these books were done, and we actually sold about 900 of them through National Braille Press a while ago.
Wow.
That was for iOS 6 and iOS 7. But then we moved, and the company we worked with changed hands, and a whole bunch of stuff happened. And, you know, when you're working with a company to produce this stuff, you need to be able to sit down beside them, and that couldn't work anymore when they moved to Ottawa and we moved to Victoria. We sort of opposite-ended the country, and that was that. So we decided, let's make our own. So my dear partner, who is very brilliant, I said, we're going to buy an Everest D4 embosser, and we're going to buy Tactile View software, which is the tactile graphics software, and we're going to get duct spray. We're going to do this ourselves. He said, okay, if you think we can do it, I'll figure it out. And he figured out how to work this. I know nothing about producing this stuff by myself. Somebody else has to do it.
So
I just
a side
think about
person is doing all of this?
Yes.
Wow, that's cool. Can I have one, please?
Now, what we did, I said, you know, we did an iOS 8 book. And it didn't sell very well through National Braille Press, but it was Braille only, and we gave it some silly name like Feelogram.
There's one blind person who listens to NPR who's going to go out and buy that book because you've disturbed them with that title.
Probably. So anyway, it was a marketing error, but you know what? One of the things in entrepreneurialism is instead of getting freaked out by your mistakes, you learn from them, and you build on it. So we said, okay, no more just feel and see. So all the videos on the website are listed under a link called Old Videos, and they are the feel and see iOS 8 videos, but they pretty much apply to iOS 9, and they're still excellent teaching tools. And when we have time, we will definitely be working on a new set. Right now there are 29 videos. There's one for each diagram in the old book telling you how to teach it, how to use it. And, of course, it's all hooked up with voiceover so that
nice.
By the time you listen to the video, hear what the voiceover is doing on the video, and feel the diagrams, you really do have a total multimedia experience going on for learning. On www.ihabilitation.com.
Or you could say the I in yourself, because you don't have to wait for rehab to come.
Well, you know, because I used to be a rehab teacher, one of my objectives for the future is if we really get this going and I have extra money to hire other people to help and work and do videos, I'm actually thinking of changing that whole website to iHabilitation, as in I can help myself, and doing a lot more independent living skill stuff, and then moving the whole book
with
thing
your
over
iPhone
to the feelandsee.com site.
And
www.feelnc, like FEELNSEE.com is the link where you can go right to the shopping cart. You can get the three versions, the tactile, the dual mode version, the tactile and Braille, is $30. The Braille only version is $25, and we do a large print only version for $20, and you may wonder why, but this has been suggested by the folks at the Canadian Helen Keller Centre in Toronto, and they like it because they have a lot of deaf-blind people who are quite low vision, and they can't see the screen of their iPhone, but they can look at these diagrams. It's a lot faster than sitting there trying to sign it and explain.
Feelandc.com. That was very clever of you, just on the border of R-rated.
Okay, well, there's a contact link on the website, or tom@ihabilitation.ca. So you can get the website by .com or .ca, but tom@ihabilitation.ca. There's an iHabilitation Canada page on Facebook. You can actually look up iHabilitation on Skype and get us that way. I'm on LinkedIn.
I'm actually thinking about getting the dual one because that would be a good teaching tool for me if I'm teaching somebody who's visually impaired.
Well, that's precisely why it was invented, and I'm sure that you know Braille. I mean, the whole point is...
I know of it.
The point is that's precisely why we invented the dual mode, because now any Apple Store trainer, any sighted friend, relative, colleague, anybody who gets this book in their paws, a sighted person can go around with this book and help blind people learn to use their iPhones, literally.
Or reverse.
Yep, exactly. I've actually turned on voiceover on sighted people's phones and started showing them how to use voiceover. And I know sighted people who now actually have voiceover on some of the time when they make sure that they don't touch things by accident. Another thing I really want to promote is the whole iPhone eyes free thing, because with universal design, everything can work in any direction for anybody. And imagine how many sighted people would think it was cool to develop this sixth sense where they had a set of Aftershock headphones on. They could still hear everybody talking to them. They got their Aftershock headphones on, and they know how to use voiceover, so their phone's in their pocket. So here's a sighted person. Any way they want to use their phone or connect with the internet without anybody knowing it. I mean, this is something they should be teaching in the military. Don't they teach them all kinds of cool stuff, how to function at night without seeing and this sort of thing? Enter voiceover. So I think the whole idea is that voiceover has the potential to be a much more mainstream product than people realize.
Thanks for listening to today's Tech Cove. We hope you've enjoyed today's program. Tune in again next week at the same time for another edition with Sean Hosbury.